Yes, let us today conclude this painful act of punishment which was inflicted upon a helpless, a poor girl, barely grown, undernourished, and open to the anger of the people. So much so that they ripped her of her clothes, that they shaved her head, that while they dragged her with a noose about her neck, she sustained some bruises which stay even now. The blindfold, the bandage, the black strip of cloth which was tied across her eyes, the noose that still remains as a ring about her neck, moved the poet to feel poignant, to feel pained, not only at the punishment that was given to the girl in the form of shaving, in the form of dragging her naked on harsh earth and pushing her in the bog and keeping her there with rods, weight, and boughs. But the poet also believes that even he, not just he, but all those who might not have hit her with objects, but who killed her with their silence. The poet feels that silence at the suffering of someone is a worse crime. He calls her little adulteress. He calls her poor scapegoat, which are suggestive enough of the love, of the upsurge of compassion for this girl which the poet is experiencing. I almost love you. The poet commits that to see you having suffered this much, you, a simple girl, you too young and tender, now I love you. But if I was there on the scene of the incident, I would have cast. He knows, he says it with conviction that the frenzy that had overtaken the whole crowd, which was throwing stones on the girl, the poet says that if I was there, even I would have inflicted stones of silence, though. I would not have had the heart to hit you with stones, but my silence, silence of the people around, also killed you. I am the artful warrior. Warrior is a person who stays quiet when his intervention can make a difference to the suffering of someone. Warrior is also a person who delights silently in the sufferings of others. So the poet now says, I am the artful, I am too wicked, very artfully. Because if there are some wrong customs in a society, then people should, if they feel that this is wrong, they should comment on it. They should physically be present there and try to make at least one gesture of making people understand and allowing the sufferer a second chance or a chance to explain himself. But what do people do? They remain quiet. And that is what that makes them a warrior. Someone who is disinterested, who is not really affected by the sufferings of someone and who abstains from putting in any expression of stopping this evil act. I am the artful voyeur of your brain's exposed and darkened combs. Now, because she has been shaven and the veins that are visible on the head, they are like darkened combs. The poet is saying that even now, when I look at your body, and if I am not commenting now, I am still a voyeur and I am enjoying secretly the exposed body of yours. Your muscles webbing and all your numbered bones. He says that I am cruel enough when I look at your body now that it has been drawn out from the bog, and I am looking with it in my silence. I am a voyeur. I can count your muscles' webbings and your numbered bones. She has been so shrunk in the bog that everything is nearly visible. The bones. I, who have stood dumb when your betraying sisters, called in tar, wept by the railings. The poet is in complete compassion with the girl. And he says, if I was alive at that time when you took this punishment many, many years from now, I could have been one who just stood dumb. When your sisters, when your own sisters, someone who is related to you by blood, and that person also doesn't make any expression or doesn't prevent, but he allows them a chance. He allows them the grace that because they were poor, they would not have had any say in what the society decided. So even I would have stood dumb when your betraying sisters, also called in tar, wept by the railings. Around the bog there were railings, and sisters must have wept in their hearts, but not able to say anything because they were only individuals against a mad society. The poem is very representative. The poem is juggling up the images of the ancient, the age old tendencies of society, of very rigid and contained societies who believe that their word is law, who ascribe punishment to people, who ascribe death when there was yet another milder way of correcting things. So he says that maybe I was like one of your sisters, moving, weeping silently, but not saying anything, who would connive in civilized outrage. So I connived. To connive means to be a part of some kind of strategy, of an evil working. So even I was a part of that, and even I might have stood there conniving in civilized outrage. This is a paradox. Outrage cannot be civilized, and if it is civilized, it cannot be outraged. But the feelings which overtook the people all around, who thought that they were civilized because they did not do the adultery. This is an insult upon the people, that were they civilized in doing such things? Were they civilized in showing a mass outrage against one fragile girl? So, in now this is all without a comma or a full stop. This whole part. Who would connive in civilized outrage yet understand the exact and tribal intimate revenge? I was there. If I was there, only then would I understand what is the mentality of a group of people which turns like a tribe. Tribe is what? A community which has its own system of governance, which has its own primitive system of governance. Education doesn't touch them. They live in remote places and their own people. They choose from among themselves their own governors and who govern and who dictate the rules for the society. So, this is an intimate revenge. What is revenge? Revenge is the act of retaliation when someone has done wrong to you. The question that is left to us at the end of the poem is that what was the thing that made the people who were punishing the girl, to have a satisfaction as if they have taken their revenge? It is like this, that this girl must have fallen in love with one of the oppressor's tribe. The ones who came and occupied this tribe, she must have fallen in love with that. And because the tribe was unable to take their revenge upon the big community, so they took their revenge upon this small girl, who the poet already has mentioned as having been used as a scapegoat. Her sacrifice, the killing of this girl, is an effort of killing the ruling oppressors. The poem leaves before us certain ideas, certain questions. The first question being, who is authorized to punish? What can be and what should be the mode of punishment? And should punishment be taken as synonymous to revenge? Think it over. These are the thoughts which will tell you the beauty of the underlying thought implied by Seamus Heaney in this poem, Punishment. That is all. Think it out. Think about a society which stays civil, and when does it become outrageous and goes brutal? And when does it leave the limits of punishment and go on to have a sadistic pleasure in avenging themselves? Thank you.